my circles, my algorithm is being changed, and I'm coming across different people, and I like them. It's cool. I'm going to put a link to the video at the end of this when I upload it, and I've already shared her video, which is really Yahoo's video, to her, because all things that belong to me come from him, and things from him come through me. Does that whole what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours thing, huh? I've always had it practice one-sided with me. Like, anyways, and I haven't been very good at what's yours is mine and mine thing, because I had a bad example anyways. I didn't use it in the way that they would have used it. So, moving on to the point. So, her video is very important about AI and the etymology of AI and media, which I love the etymology of things, because it gets to the root, it gets to the truth, it gives you a firm foundation to stand on. I love it. And where did I develop my love for it? That is the topic of this video. It is mentioned in her video, which is Yahoo's video, and Yahushua's video, and Ruach HaKodesh's video. Oh, I kind of mix up my video too. That's cool. Because there are other videos I'm associated with, because I open doors by watching them, and all that. Point. Why is it unbelievers and heathens know more about scripture, history, and Israelite culture than people who grew up, like me, in the Catholic Church, and maybe broke those chains and ventured into another aspect of Christendom? For me, it was Jehovah's Witnesses. Other people, it may be born again, it may be Baptist, it may be Anabaptist, blah, blah, blah. So, first discussion. Why did I say heathen instead of pagan? Etymology of words. The first, earliest application of pagan was towards Christians. Because the first Christians were Israelites. They were Jews. And as Israelites, they liked things simpler. Their fabrics were simpler. You don't mix the wool with the cotton or the leather. Like, they tear at each other. You don't mix things. You don't over decorate yourself. I took out all my piercings and I'm letting all of that heal. They did. Israelites had piercings. For me, because I'm now living in an age where we've had more exposure to the fallen angel technology and ways and manners of doing things, I understand, which maybe was not describable and explainable in Israelites' earlier culture, that we have energy, our blood flows, our nervous system, everything has a place and a purpose in our body. So when we pierce it, we interrupt that natural flow of energy. We pierce it, we interrupt that natural flow of energy. We pierce it, we interrupt that natural, we dye it, we cut it. Our antenna is destroyed. Our memories stored in here are cut off from us. which I'm not saying a haircut is a bad thing because we have other places to store memories. I'm saying that I am aware of the purpose of many things. Underarm hair, it gets shaved to emasculate, to remove the masculine aspects, which are those aspects that would be asserting themselves, be more of a defense, and where you move first, offense, yeah, be more offensive, in that we would interrupt like our children's activities. As a woman, we would garden, we would manipulate soil, we manipulate food. These are the masculine aspects. They remove those, turn us into juvenile sexual forms, and we lose a proper relationship with our masculinity as wombed men. Womb man. I am of man. I am man with a womb. Therefore, I am wombed man or woman. So, the more simple, some people would call it plain. They would go out into what by worldly people is considered sophisticated, more mature, more developed. They're so foul, they have to rob flowers, animals for pheromones to cover their foul scent of their body with the scents of other beings. That is sophistication. That is how they recognize one another. That is how they distinguish that you are not of them. So, they are heathens, not pagans. Pagans literally is translated people of the earth. So the heathens, more familiar with the fallen archangel technology and ways and mannerisms, in order to be used to undermine the prospect of anyone's salvation, in order to undermine it, has to know how it is achieved. How do we gain this prospect of salvation? And so they must know everything that can be interpreted as a loophole, as something that they can corrupt, enter in through, undermine us, cause us to be deceived. They have to know scripture. See previous video as to why I don't say excuse me when I burp. Darn heathen. I'm still losing my heathen ways. I'm not judging. So, yes, I think that's important for people to know. I have gone and sought out the Jewish people, they're God's people, and the various sects within modern Jewry. And we have they do not call themselves, they differentiate themselves, they don't talk to the dead, except if it's their rabbi who was legendary and recently dead. They're alive. And they are not New Age, but they believe that we are all God. The same as... Basically, it's the New Age movement within Judaism. With the Kabbalah. Oh my goodness. Ugh. And then we have the other factions, sects within the Jewish population that considers themselves believers, but are heathenistic. Where rabbinical teachings that are called oral Torah are followed and given the same weight as actual Torah and scripture. And others that have, their prayers are by rote, forced into habit. Like this. And traditions that just bind them to all these unnecessary rules and regulations. And so, I haven't been able to come across any that could share with me, but they can tell you every Christian belief in scripture and why it's wrong. And certain factions of them, they don't care if you call yourself a pagan, a heathen, a hedonist, animist. They don't care. You're a Christian. Just like to the Amish, you're in English. Even if you're Hispanic, and Español es su primero lingo. I know that's not the Spanish word for it, though. It's been a while. Yo no hablas no más. Un poquito solo. I just have fun, and it irritates me that I don't remember it, because I have remembered it suddenly out of the blue very clearly. The spirit was present. So, yes, this is why the heathens would know more about scriptures than the heathens that call themselves Christians and don't understand it because they don't get into the etymology, the history, the culture. So many things that are Hamashiach, you call in your Greek pantheon, your heathen Greek pantheon, whose head of the pantheon is Jesus, in your heathen pantheon, those you call pagans and evil and hedonistic know more about the meaning of the words in the New Testament, which is actually the renewed covenant, than you do. I'm getting brutal. There is no, usually I'd be like, I don't want to use those words, I don't want to say it in that way. I would never go on the street and call a Christian a heathen, but they are. And now you know why, to a Jewish person, all heathens are Christians. So it went from pagan being referred to as the first century Israelite believers to Christian from the perspective of the Israelite heathens. I got it straight. All the portals, all the doorways. Oh my goodness. So I thought that was really cute. And in her video, she reads from probably the Sefer, which is what I have, and it's not perfect, but it makes the effort. Okay, I have a cover on, like, I needed something good, but it has the books Enoch, Maccabees, Jubilees, Yasher, and just going through it, it just starts to make you just saying words in Hebrew. So like the Amish, who you call plain folk, and would be what a Hebrew would have been a plain folk. And again, their adherence to certain dialects. The one pure language which is not spoken today is Hebrew. And this has modern Hebrew. It isn't necessarily how Paleo Hebrew would have been expressed. They say it's lost. It turns out a whole lot of it isn't lost, like how to pronounce the name of God. It's not lost. Not lost. You've been lied to. I'm such a good cook. Again, previous video. So, yeah. The scripture that I think she was probably reading out of here included the word Alua. So I'm going to put a link. There's a Facebook post that, so Elohim would be spirits that might be attributed to having, qualities of a deity, which there's only one that has qualities of actual godhood, of actual creatorhood. There's only one. We are inside that one. And we're basically, you know, how big is the size of a fish that you are in this fishbowl that is creation, and what's with that fish in the fishbowl floating in the ocean with its creator wrapped around it, holding it all together. Don't want them fish splashing out, because they're goners. These are freshwater fish, and man, that boy's salty. That ocean is salty. So them little fishes in the fishbowl that the creators try to keep from splashing out into the salty sea, is those fish are claiming to be him. So if once in a while you come across a scripture where God says, I'm gonna laugh at you, because it's my fish in my fish bowl, it's really, really making a fuss about things. Silly little fish. There we have it. So Alua, the difference, so Elohim would be spirits that could be attributed as deities. Evil deities could be an Elohim. Well, Elohim is multiple. We call the creator, if I'm in this scenario acting it out, the salty sea. We would address and refer to him in his masculine role as Elohim, because the plural culture, gotta learn it from Jewish culture, the plural, like Adonai, is lords. The plural is used to denote respect. So Elohim is just any group of deities. Alua is like how it would refer to faithful deities, like the group of the council of the sons of God, and Alua's spirit would be God's spirit when it's participating on those levels. So that's the difference between these words and why it's so important, because people read the book of Genesis and they say, you're heathens who identify as pagans, such as Oberon Zell, which is my first initiation into a profoundly different way of interpreting scripture than I'd ever been exposed to before. So they will say, in the beginning, the gods, because it's Elohim. The gods created heaven and earth. But the name of God, as written Yod He Vod He, the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, isn't mentioned until chapter 2. And so it's 2 different creation accounts. And so Oberon Zell wrote an article that claims that we are the others of creation from the other gods who created there. So if it was more than one God, let us make man in our image, it would be interpreted that each god made their own species of man, and then this is just what happened to the lineage of this one God identified by the Tetragrammaton and his offspring. So the others don't claim to have any original sin. Not their problem. Not their God and not their problem. That's where... But because Elohim really means an honorable way of identifying in Hebrew custom, one that is above all the rest. Like, he is Adonai of my life, my heart, my body, my mind, my soul, my spirit. Whereas I would have opened the door to some sin and iniquity that makes some low-level demon, some insignificant spirit, lord over my kidney or a nipple. You know what I mean? I'm not far. Go do your research. Go do your research. I'm in a different realm, man, of belief that is actually real. So I think that's what I wanted to mention. That I extracted while viewing this video. And we're just going to keep the momentum of sharing going by me sharing it with you. The heathens say mote it be. I say, so be it, and so it be.